Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be focusing on standard 6.ns.b3, fluently add, subtract, multiply, and divide multi-digit decimals using the standard algorithm for each operation. We're going to be focusing on multiplication today. We've already completed addition and subtraction, so we're going into the next topic. Here are our steps for multiplying decimals. Rewrite your equation without the decimal point. Multiply just like you've learned in the past. Then count the number of digits you have to the right of your decimal in all numbers. In your answer, beginning at the last digit, move your decimal point the same number of spaces you counted in step 3. Let's take a look at this example and use our steps to help us solve it. So here our numbers have already been rewritten for us without the decimal point. So we're working with 5.6 times 7.2. So we're just going to use it as 56 and 72. So let's go ahead and multiply. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. Then we have our 0 as a placeholder. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4 is 39. Now we go ahead and add those numbers. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 9 is 10. Carry that 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. So here I've completed the first step. I've completed the second step. Now let's take a look at the third step. So the third step says count the number of digits you have to the right of your decimal in all of your numbers. So we're going to go back to the 5.6 and the 7.2. So to the right of my decimal in 5.6, I have 1 digit. And to the right of my decimal in 7.2, I have 1 digit. So in total, I have 2 digits between both numbers. So that just completed step 3. Step 4 says, in your answer, beginning at the last digit, move your decimal point the same number of spaces you counted in step 3. In step 3, we counted 2 spaces. So starting here, I'm going to move 2 spaces. So the product of 5.6 and 7.2 is equal to 40.32. All right, let's take a look at these next 3 examples. So again, we're going to write our number without the decimal. So here we're working with 36 times 7. And we're going to multiply just like we normally would. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 4 is 25. Okay. Now we go back to our original numbers and count the number of decimal places we have. So here we have 1 decimal place. I have none here, so I'm going to move that many places in my answer. So starting on the right-hand side, I'm moving 1 decimal place for a final answer of 25.2. Now let's take a look at this next example. So I'm going to start with 465 times 21. So I'm just taking out my decimal points to start off my work. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. Then I know I put a 0 here as my placeholder. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. And then we add. 5 plus 0 is 5. 6 plus 0 is 6. 4 plus 3 is 7. And we bring down our 9. Now we go to our original numbers and count the number of decimal places we have. So here I have 1, 2, and then there's 1 here for a total of 3. So when I go into my answer, I'm going to move a total of 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. So my answer is 9.765. So now for our third example. So here we're working with the numbers 25 and 328. So as we've talked about previously, we know that multiplication is commutative. So I can choose to rewrite this with the bigger number first and then the smaller number second. So I'm going to start off by just flipping the order of these numbers. So I'm going to put my 3.28 first, and then I'm going to multiply that by my 0.25. So now I'm going to rewrite these numbers without the decimal points. I'm going to write 328 times 25. I don't need to include that 0 in front of it because I'm just going to get an entire line of zeros. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 4 is 14. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 is 16. We put in our placeholder. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we go ahead and add those numbers. 0 plus 0 is 0. 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry that 1. 5 plus 6 is 11 plus 1 is 12. 6 plus 1 is 7 plus 1 is 8. Let's count the number of decimal places. So in the first number we have 1, 2. In the second number we have 1, 2. So that's a total of 4. So we're going to move 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives us a final answer of 0.8200. I can also rewrite this by dropping off those zeros. So I can just rewrite it as 0.82. It does not change the value. I can have a million zeros behind this 2 and it would be the exact same number. So it says calculate the area of the rectangle. Whenever we talk about area, we know we're talking about some form of multiplication. So first you have to ask yourself, what is the formula for finding the area of a rectangle? We've seen this in a few of our examples, so we know it's A equals, we can use length times width or base times height. So let's go ahead and plug our numbers in. So A equals 0.58 or 0.58 times 4. So now I'm going to stack my numbers without the decimal points. I'm going to use 58 times 4. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 5 is 20 plus 3 is 23. Now we go back to our original numbers. We count the number of decimal places. We have 1, 2. So that means I'm going to move that many places in my answer. 1, 2. So that leaves me with a final answer of 2.32. My units is inches. Okay, my unit is in inches. And we know whenever we find the area, it's inches squared. So let's go ahead and take a look at 2 examples involving exponents. So we know that whenever we see exponents, it's telling us that we need to multiply the base by itself, however many times is represented by the exponent. So this little arrow here is called a caret key. So when we say evaluate 0.5 and you see that little arrow, it's telling you that the 3 is representing an exponent. So we can actually rewrite that as 0.5 to the third power, or 0.5 cubed, and we can rewrite this example as 0.25 squared, or to the second power. Now let's go ahead and actually evaluate these examples. So whenever I have a number being cubed, it's telling me I need to multiply that base by itself 3 times. So I can express that as 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5. Now we have 3 numbers to be multiplied. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the first 2, then we'll get that product, and then we'll multiply that product by the third number. So I'm going to rewrite my numbers without the decimal points. So it's 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. And now I go back to my original numbers and assess how many decimal points I have. So here I have 1, 2 decimal points. So I'm going to move that many places in my answer. So 1, 2. So the product of 0.5 and 0.5 is 0.25. Okay. So now we're going to bring down the third 0.5, and then we're going to multiply again. So I'm going to rewrite these two numbers without the decimal. So that's 25 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 12. So the product of 25 and 5 is 125. Now let's go back to our problem and see how many decimal places we have. So we have 1, 2 in the first number, and then there's a third one in the second number. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 places for a final answer of 0.125. So the product of 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5, or 0.5 to the third power, is 0.125. Now let's take a look at 0.25 squared. So I'm going to multiply the base by itself 2 times, so that's 0.25 times 0.25. Now when I go to multiply, I'm going to rewrite my numbers again without the decimal point. So it's 25 times 25. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Put in my placeholder. 2 times 5 is 10, so that gives me a 0 here, and I carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And I add those numbers. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus 5 is 6. So the product of 25 times 25 is 625. Now let's go ahead and assess the number of decimal places that we have in this number. So here I have 1, 2 places, and then I have another 1, 2 places. Okay, so that's a total of 4 places. So when I come down to my answer and I go 1, 2, 3, I realize, like, wait, where am I going to put that fourth place? So I'm just going to go ahead and draw the my little bubble to represent that fourth place. And what I'm going to put in there is a placeholder of 0. So whenever it is that you are missing a spot and there's no number being represented there, you can use a 0 to hold that place. So what this tells me is that 0.25 squared is equal to 0.0625. Okay, so again, 0.25 squared is equal to 0.0625. If there's a space missing, I'll show you guys that again. I had to move 4 places. So 1, 2, 3. So now I have to create that fourth space and use a 0 as a placeholder. Don't believe me? Try it on your calculator. Plug in 0.25 times 0.25 and you'll see that your answer is 0.0625. Thanks for watching and have a great day.